Okay, so real quick
So-
about Horizon Dawn,
Yeah,
because you said that you're on like the last mission.
yeah. I'm right before the last mission right now. So right
How
now,
do you know it's the last mission? Like you know for a fact it's the last
yeah,
mission?
the last mission's called the Looming Shadow.
Okay, so you are at the last.
Yeah, so it said like I was reading because now that I've gone through it and I'm right before that, now I'm just like doing some cleanup and stuff before I jump into it.
Yeah.
I'm doing certain side missions, like there's 6 or 7 side missions plus the hunting where you acquire all the allies to help you in the final battle.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so there's a list online. If you do those 7, then you get all these guys that will help you. So like right before you go into the Looming Shadow, it'll ask you if you want to have a sleep before the morning. You have a sleep, and then you reflect on everyone you've helped, and then in the morning you wake up and you go and you talk to all of them and their allies to help you. So I was like,
Okay.
well, I kind of want to do that.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, luckily for me, I've been doing most of the side quests as I go along. So
You're probably okay because I was just flying through the main quests and then picking up like collectibles along the way and stuff.
the reason why I was asking was because I got to a point where Silence is saying like you have to like if you go past this, like if you have anything else you need to do, go past this. And I thought, I know that's not the last mission, so I thought maybe that's where you were at, and that you thought that was the last mission.
Yeah, no, I passed that part already, and that kind of confused me too because I was like, I swear it was something Shadow was the last mission, and that's not what that was called.
Right. Whereas I'm like doing I'm doing the main missions just to get to the last power cell. Once I get the last power cell, then I'll probably just start doing cleanup.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So as long as you don't hit up like the Looming Shadow. Even though like if you go through the Looming Shadow and you want to go back and get the allies later, you can, but you just got to replay the Looming Shadow. So I was like, I don't want to do that. So I'm probably going to hop into the Frozen Wilds as soon as I'm done the main story.
Yeah, I actually started that, so that's part of my quest list now. But I haven't actually gone through because like a lot of them were plus 30, like 30 levels and stuff, and I was like, okay, fine. Yeah. But like, it's funny how you can glitch certain bosses or certain things where like if you just find a spot where you can hide and they can't attack you, then you just chip away. So like you'll come across a demon corrupted, not a scrapper.
Stomper?
No.
Or trampler. Is that what they're called?
No. It's one of the more cat-like ones.
Oh, you talking about that invisible one, like the Predator?
No, not that one, but I hate that one. I absolutely hate that one.
It just sends off like those alarms and stuff.
Fuck, that one pisses me off. But it's similar vein. It's just one of the bigger ones, right? And it was like a level 35. Like there was no way that I was gonna beat this thing. Like 2 hits, dead. Like that's it.
Ravager.
2 hits, dead. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. So a demon corrupted Ravager.
Like
so this is a top of the line guy.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding just this spot in between this crevice and a tree. And he could not fucking hit me at all. So I just whipped away with arrows, and eventually like he'd run away, and and then I jump out, fire off some more, he'd come back at me, get back in that little spot. Like you can almost see him being like, are you fucking kidding me? This spot again, this son of a bitch. And then when I beat him, I was like, oh, I can't. It's just hilarious. And then like I felt like I was doing that with the Deathbringers. You just find a spot where you can camp and not get hit.
Yeah, Deathbringers are actually surprisingly easy. And same with like Thunderjaws, like those 2 over by the tall neck. I went up on the cliff face and I was just shooting at them from above. And every time they shoot their missiles, I would just back up. It would hit like the edge of the rocks. I go
exactly. So like the mission that I'm currently stuck on is the Heart of the Nora.
Okay, yep.
Because like, well, I mean, there's like 5 different sections of I don't know what the hell you call them. Mechazords? Let's call them Mechazords.
Zords, yeah.
Yeah. And so like, and then of course there's humans on top of that, right? So like, and of course the first wave you hit is a Deathbringer one. I fucking climbed a mountain. I climbed a mountain and then just picked off the Deathbringer.
Yeah.
Then the Watchers showed up, but they're easy. Like I'm at a one big hit and they're dead. You know, and the Corruptors from that height, a joke.
Nice.
You know, and then I stealthed one other section, but then when the third section I was like, I can't keep doing this. So now I'm doing some leveling up on other side missions so I can get back to that. I really want that armor. I want that
Man,
armor before anything else.
that armor is sick. Oh, it is.
You have it? Oh, I hate you.
It is awesome. I took on a Thunderjaw and it was a bitch, man. It was like shooting at me and was just reflecting. All the energy was taking it in.
I honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait because like, you know, the funny part is I never like souped up any of my armors. I souped up my weaponry. I bought like shadow weaponry, but I never did anything with my armor. I had like this stealth armor. And there's times where I'm like dying repeatedly. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Like, how can I get past this? And then I'm looking through my armor and I'm like, oh, I actually have pretty good armor. maybe I should level that up too. And the funny part is I'm talking about how like it reminds me of a giant RPG, and yet I didn't bother upgrading.
No, it's such a weird, like it's a great game, but it's such a weird game because like it reminds me of so many different games and genres while I'm playing it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like there are aspects that remind me of Tomb Raider. Like the cauldrons are definitely like tombs.
Yep.
And just the fact that you're a strong woman and you're, you know, jumping and climbing and running and hunting. Yep. I was like, okay, so those are all there. And I mean, obviously, what do they call it? Like it's what's the term? Like map game or something like that? Like clear the map game? Because that's kind of the whole purpose of getting all the...
It's pretty much like all the Sony exclusives these days, like God of War and Ghost of Tsushima are the same way.
Yeah, exactly. You got like tons of collectibles and stuff like that. And like,
yeah, and then I get some Dragon Age in there, and then
I see. I never played, so I don't get that.
Like BioWare RPGs, like Anthem. I totally getting
okay. Yes, again, I never.
Enslaved, obviously, I get a ton of Enslaved.
I know that was the first one I mentioned to you. Basically, it felt like Tomb Raider and Enslaved just smashed together with heavy RPG elements, and then you're just like, oh, okay, fine. In fact, like so much so that I want to replay Enslaved because I'm like, you know what? I probably gave that game too much of a hard time because I beat it, and I if I didn't like it, why would I beat it? You know?
Yeah.
I got to replay it and just go for it. Because graphically, I thought it was awesome. I thought the gameplay was awesome. I think the story was the only thing that I was a little bit iffy on, but I bet you if I played it again, I'd be like,
story's actually very similar, like a futuristic, like Earth in the future where robots or like mechanical animals took over. Like it's very similar in that aspect.
Mechazords,
yes. I like it.
I can't lay claim to that because Mighty Morphin Power Rangers said it first, but
they did.
It's in the spirit of this 90s revival that we're doing.
I don't really have a problem with anything in the game except the jumping annoys me at times.
The jumping really annoys me.
I really hate how like I'll jump up beside a rock that's half my height and she won't grab on. She just keeps jumping against it. And it's just, that's annoying the shit out of me.
Another thing that's annoying that actually was really annoying was if you didn't get the power cell in Mother's heart.
Yeah.
You had to go back in and you had to like basically exploit a glitch.
Yeah.
And the thing that annoyed me the most was that I got that power cell and I didn't realize it. So I did that glitch for nothing.
Well, yeah,
because
they tell you got a power cell, but they don't tell you which one you got.
That's right. And I forgot that I got it in Mother's, but I didn't get it in the first ruins.
Okay.
When I realized that I had it from Mother, I'm like, maybe I didn't get it in the first ruins, and sure enough, I didn't. I didn't.
When I went,
go on.
When I went to the first ruins again, I had to fast travel out because I couldn't figure out how to get out of it. Because I was like,
I almost did.
You fell in the hole, and then I remember at the beginning of the game, like Ross pulled you out. So I was like, how the hell do I get out of this friggin' place?
Yeah, no, I know.
Fast travel.
It took. I think the first time I went back there, and looked around again, I think it was a full 5 minutes before I was able to figure out my way out.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, are you kidding? But some of the stuff, like the game is pretty epic too. Like I gotta say, for a game that's about 40 hours,
Yeah.
for just gameplay, like that's pretty good.
Been a couple moments where I've felt the time because I'm just grinding and I'm like, ugh. But it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I know. When you don't have a strider.
Yeah, I got the unlimited fast travel pack, so I get fast travel everywhere now. Because I was
that's the next one on my list.
I was like, yeah, fuck it, like walking this whole map, or maybe overriding a strider here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of overriding, I did the cauldron with the Thunderjaw.
Yeah.
And before I overrode the system to unlock him, I overrode the 2 Watchers. So then when I overrode the system, they helped me fight the Thunderjaw.
Ooh, I like that idea. I never even thought to do that. Yeah. I got in the habit of before I unleash the boss, I think the Thunderjaw is my next one. I got 2 left, actually. 2 cauldrons left.
2 cauldrons?
Yeah. But you know when like they have the doors that other animals would come out of?
Yep. I
got in the habit of like putting traps by them to wipe them out beforehand. So I was pretty pumped about that. But I never think about using overrides to have battles.
Yeah, I've been doing that so much lately. I'll scout the Watchers in a neighborhood, and I'll just freaking override.
That's a great idea. That's gonna be my next move, especially with this Heart of Nora bullshit.
And holy shit! If you override a Sawtooth, oh man, you are good. Like that thing will destroy everything.
Oh, I think that's what it was. A level 35 Demon Corrupted Sawtooth. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
This thing was massive. Like I almost shit my pants when I saw it. But then when I caught that little glitch, I was like, this is great. This is so great. I almost wish that in that case, like AI characters would be like, wow, I'm surprised you made it this far so quickly. Sort of a subtle nod to having such a low level and getting there. But let's see. So we mentioned 90s revival. So I said Mechazord, mentioned Darkhawk. What else could we be talking about today?
Mortal
Nightwing. Nope, Nightwing, issue 80.
Nightwing. Oh, you got more Nightwing?
The book is great. Like flat out, the book is great. The book looks amazing. The characterization is awesome. The story is now picking up where we get to see the good things that Dick has done is now starting to bite him in the ass. If you're not reading it, check it out. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
That's it.
That's all I wanted to say is like, if you're not reading Nightwing, check it out. You don't even have to be a fan of Nightwing to read this book and like this book. I mean, it'll help, but I bet you by the end of this book, you'll be like, I'm a Nightwing fan. But yeah, the way he draws that Nightwing costume, I actually now think it's one of the better versions.
It's a great.
And I was hating on it before.
Yeah, I mean, and he's such a good artist that you need a good artist, right? Like the costume design is half of the battle. You got to have the artist to bring that to life.
That's right. That's
right. I was going to say about Darkhawk too. The weird thing about comics is, if I see a costume for a movie, and we see it and we're like, I don't know, but I got to see it in motion. That'll change everything. You don't get that in comics, so it's basically like, I'm not feeling it, and then that's it. Because
and that's it. Yeah,
it's really going to change it.
Yeah, and then on the costume front, like in terms of movies and TVs nowadays, I find less and less. I'm like, more and more. I'm just like, okay,
yeah.
Although I'm still not a fan of Batman's new costume. Not a fan of that one.
Oh man, did you see what Catwoman and Riddler look like?
No, I didn't.
Oh shit! I just saw it today. Someone had the Batman calendar for 2022, and so they took pictures from images from the calendar.
Oh,
Catwoman is literally just wearing a burglar mask with like a cutout that goes like straight across like this.
Okay.
2 little points, and that's it. And Riddler straight up looks like Dr. Doom. He's got this mechanical face mask.
Okay, you know what? Yeah. I will just say this for me to see this, but you did mention Mortal Kombat, and we are talking about Mortal Kombat. We're not talking about the 1996 epic of trash that was Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Or was it 95?
95, because Annihilation was 97.
Right. You know what? That's trash. Right. That's right. Oh yeah. If you thought 95's Mortal Kombat was garbage, and it was, but it wasn't as bad as people think it was.
it was awesome then. It's hard to watch now. It's aged.
Yes.
Bad.
Although I have to say, even though because I saw the Mortal Kombat in the theater, and I remember my first thought was my only complaint was the wire work when they were flipping backwards.
Yeah.
Other than that, I thought it was awesome. I was like, this is so great. Aside from that part, everything was great. And then Annihilation, we watched at your place, and it was just a pile of garbage.
Yeah. Actually, I watched Annihilation with Will Tenham at the theater, and then we watched it. And I'm pretty sure I was telling you before we watched it how bad it was.
Yeah, you were giving me the heads up.
What? How old? Okay, so I'm 15. I'm totally in love with Mortal Kombat, and I'm going, this is a pile of shit. Like,
yeah, you're like, okay, look, this is just like it looks cool, but everything about it is terrible.
Like how much,
or something along those lines. But
how much of these games can we shove into an hour and a half movie?
Oh, luckily, in my opinion, this remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it, is largely a winner. Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I didn't write down any of my positives because
I got the IMDb page up with the cast, so I can kind of go off the cast, but pretty much I'm gonna roll with it.
One dislike. That's it.
It's pretty good.
There's a couple parts to the dislike, but ultimately it's one dislike, and then that's it. Other than that, I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I thought it was awesome. This is actually a movie. I said I was going to rewatch it, but I haven't. But I'm definitely going to rewatch it because I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. And a large part of it, I think, was because I went into it literally just like, how bad could it be? The one trailer I watched, I said, okay, it looks pretty good. But I mean, doesn't have a good track record, and video game movies largely are terrible. I think Tomb Raider was one of the better ones. The most recent Tomb Raider was one of the better ones, and that was about it from what I can recall. Mm-hmm. But this movie was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I definitely love a lot about it. A lot of it, not a lot of it, but some of it I was kind of like, because it's so hard for me. Because I grew up a hardcore Mortal Kombat fan. Like stupid.
How many Mortal Kombats did you beat?
The original trilogy, 4, all the way up to Armageddon, and then I kind of
I didn't think you were that into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Like I used to have the strategy guides with all the codes written out for.
Right. Yeah. Of course, you have to.
You know, it was stupid. Like my parents owned the store. You know how we got those Video One magazines for the tapes that we would rent out. They had video game sections in the back, and Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate for the Game Boy, they put in there for like $90 or something.
Wow.
And I asked my mom, can I order this for myself and I'll give the money? She said, sure. Gave her the money. I was so excited for it to come in. It never showed up. And I was so mad, and I was crying, and I was so pissed off. And then I think it came out like December 11th or something like that. And I was so pissed. My mom said, I'll call Video One. I'll figure it out. We'll find out where your game is and everything. 4 days later, I'm opening my birthday gifts and my Mortal Kombat. And she's like,
she got you good.
It was so hard not to give it to you 4 days ago because I was raging and then I was crying.
She got you so good. That must have been hard for her to literally be like, okay, first of all, he's angry, which we expected. But now he's crying, so I don't really know how to handle this. And your dad's probably just like, tell him to suck it up.
Yeah, be a man.
You can wait 4 fucking days.
I'm so pissed though because Will ordered Killer Instinct for his Game Boy.
Ah, yes, Killer Instinct.
He gave us the money for that, so his Killer Instinct came in. My Mortal Kombat didn't. And I was so pissed.
Actually, I really enjoyed Killer Instinct. I really enjoyed Killer Instinct 2. And then I think that series died after that. Or did they do a Killer Instinct 3?
It came back. It came back on the most recent Xbox. Because Microsoft bought it there.
Yes.
They bought
that's right.
There.
Yes. And I never, at that point, I was like, well, I don't have an Xbox, so I'm not playing that.
Yeah.
But I loved Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter guy for sure, though. Street Fighter fan.
Street Fighter guy. Adrian grew up on Street Fighter too. Like it was.
I grew up with the arcade. That's where I got it.
Either you were a Street Fighter kid or a Mortal Kombat kid.
It's funny how that works. Like back in the day, like there's only a couple of things I remember. It was very distinct about that, and it was definitely like you liked Street Fighter or you liked Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Another one was, you liked Metallica or you liked Slayer, but you couldn't like both of them, even though I did.
No.
And
there was
another
a lot
one?
of shit like that. It was WWF.
Metal Gear or Splinter Cell.
Or Siphon Filter.
Or Siphon Filter, because some people were dumb when they were young. And they thought that Siphon Filter was a better game, and it really wasn't at all, in fact.
Yeah, it was so weird, eh? Like your PlayStation or your Nintendo,
Yeah,
right?
Or your Nintendo or your Sega.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
that was
your TurboGrafx 16, but everyone was like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
The 3DO. What the fuck is?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, the Jaguar. Do you remember the Jaguar?
The Jaguar.
3D, the actual 3D Jaguar. Yeah.
Oh man, and then the Virtual Boy came out after that. Nintendo.
And they had a warning where like you couldn't play it for long periods of time because it would wreck your.
It was all
your
black
vision.
with just like red.
Oh. I couldn't do it for long.
I tried the demo of that at Zellers, I think.
That's I
hurt the eyes.
Oh, it was just weird too. Like it was really because you're not expecting virtual reality to look that shitty. Because you watch like sci-fi movies and you're like, oh my god, virtual reality, they're freaking amazing. Like even Lawnmower Man looked amazing for its time, and that was garbage. Like that was some shitty special effects.
It wasn't real virtual reality though. It was just like a TV really close to your fucking eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it was like, oh my god, this hurts. This hurts.
No, it was so bad. It was so bad.
But I was getting to all of that. So watching this, it's hard for me not to compare it to the games and even the '95 movie, like right off the bat. Like and I'm trying to like open my eyes, and even to Legacies. I remember that directed video Mortal Kombat they did a few years back where Michael J. White was Jax.
Nope.
No, that was awesome. That was really good. And the director
was that animated?
No, it was live action.
Oh wait, I remember the trailer for that. But I didn't realize it came out.
What's her name? Jerry something from Star Trek Voyager.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
She was Sonya Blade.
Yeah, 7 of 9.
Yeah, she was Sonya Blade. And it was awesome. It was really well done. Like there were serial killers and stuff. And
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Very dark. So
before we go any further though, so this was released April 23rd, 2021. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was directed by Simon McQuaid,
which is this is his first film.
Well done, sir. Well done. Screenplay is by Greg Russo and David Callahan. Mm-hmm. Story by Oren Uziel and Greg Russo, starring Louis Tan as Cole Young, Jessica McNamee as Sonya Blade. The cast, I gotta say, really good. But we'll get there. Or visually, they looked the parts. Tadanobu Asano is Raiden. Ripped up Jimmy Olsen. McCad Brooks. And I spent the first chunk of the movie when he was in it going like, it kind of looks like the dude that played, like I knew his name too, and I was like, it kind of looks like Jimmy Olsen, but I'm like, he sounds different and he's like huge. Then when I Googled it, I was like, I was right, it's totally him, but he looks like he's just eating roids now.
It was flying over my head for so long. I was like, there's something so familiar about this guy. Like so familiar. How do I know this guy?
Yeah. Ludi Lin is Liu Kang.
Yep.
Chin Han is Shang Tsung.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Taslim, which I didn't think his name would be that simple, but Joe Taslim is Bai Han and Sub-Zero.
Yep.
One of my favorites is Hiroyuki Sanada as Hanzo Hasashi or Scorpion. Max Huang as Kung Lao. Yep. Sis Stringer is Melina, which I was surprised to see in this movie.
Yeah.
Daniel Nelson does the body work for Cabal, but is voiced by Damon Harriman, and he cracked me up.
Yeah, I enjoyed Cabal.
And Josh Lawson from Superstore as Kano, and he was another one when I seen him, I was like, motherfucker, this guy's Kano, and he's Australian. I never saw that coming, but he was a highlight for me too.
Yeah.
Angus Sampon does the voice of Goro. Nathan Jones keeps getting cast as big scary guy, but good for him. He's Reiko. Mel Jarnson is Natara. Yukiko Shinohara is Harumi. And then Matilda Kimber is Emily, Cole's daughter, and Laura Brent is Allison, Cole's wife and the mother of Emily. That's it. That's all the cast.
Nailed it.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do my dislike real quick because I only got the one. I'm assuming you've got 14, 15.
I'm just gonna roll with it. Yeah. A lot of my dislikes are mostly from just story beats and somewhat some of the actors they got to portray the characters. That's all.
Okay, so my only real dislike for this movie is the Cole character. His entire story is the only thing for me that kind of drags down this movie because his story beat is created specifically for the movie.
Yeah.
And he's literally the audience like tie-in to this world, which I felt like in this movie you didn't need that.
No.
Or if you were going to do it, you could have done it with Sonya Blade. You could have done it with another hell, you could have introduced Johnny Cage, even though I do like that they've saved him for the second one.
Yeah.
But his ultimate story was just me going like, okay, all right, yep, this is gonna happen, okay. But the other part that's kind of annoying, aside from the fact that it's very predictable, was that so like he goes from the loser fighter who could barely scrape by, right, to being like the last guy to activate his powers. And it literally has to be like his wife and child are going to be killed for his powers to be activated, which, okay, fine. But you saw that coming the second he quit and went home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the fact that once he got his powers, all of a sudden he was the leader and he was calling the shots. When you had like Sonya Blade is like an actual like special forces person.
Yeah.
Jax is another special forces person. So these are two people, and they're also like well versed in this world, right? Yeah. They could have been calling the shots.
100%.
And like, but he's calling the shots, and nobody goes, "Oh, wait, hold on a second." Liu Kang falls in line as soon as Cole starts like pointing people and making the Captain America moves. So he's like, "You do that, you do this." And then on top of all of that, he's got the lamest look, period. And while his powers are cool, I do love me some Bishop-related energy absorption powers.
Yep.
They made him incredibly overpowered because of it.
Oh, yeah. It was nuts.
You know, and I mean, like, I know a lot of people are complaining about Goro being killed off in the first movie. Which, to be fair, we don't know for sure that he was killed off because his body was taken, and so was Sub-Zero, so he could be brought back. I guarantee you we'll probably see Goro again. But, like, it's tough because Goro didn't make it past the first Mortal Kombat until... Didn't he show up later on?
He showed up later on, yeah. And he had a short little fight with Johnny Cage, but I mean, it was all animatronics and puppets back then, so there wasn't much they could do with it.
No, I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the games themselves.
Oh, yeah. No, he was he was the second boss in the first game, and then he was a character throughout the whole series up to like 5, I think.
Right. So, I mean, like, for him to come back, that's fine. I'm okay with it. I would have liked it more if it was an actual established Mortal Kombat guy that beat him. Like if it was Kung Lao or Liu Kang or even both of them together, that I would have been able to stomach that a little bit more. But because there is a sequel on the way, I'm like, okay, we'll probably see him in the sequel, and that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, but other than that, that was really it. That was my only real gripe was the Cole storyline. And no offense to the actor, like he did a fine job.
Louis Tan was great for what it was. I had zero interest whatsoever, though, to see a brand new character in this movie when there is probably 200 plus in the Mortal Kombat universe.
Exactly. And like I remember distinctly when I saw the trailer and it was from his perspective, I immediately was like, yeah, I don't know about this. And and obviously the reviews, like immediately online when the trailer came out, they were like, who the fuck is Cole?
Yeah.
Why the fuck do I care about Cole? Why couldn't they use an
Well,
actual
he's
Mortal
got a
Kombat
family.
character?
Who the fuck cares if he's got a family? I don't. When his friggin' wife took an axe to Goro, I was like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, I
like,
mean, okay, fine. She was gonna help out, and that's fine. But it was just like, but how does an axe like this guy's from another like the other world? So this guy should be able to shrug off an axe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
So the whole Lewis Tan stuff, I was just, I mean, yeah.
let's differentiate because hold on, let's differentiate because a lot of people that are into geek culture can't differentiate actors from the characters. So let's just use the character name Cole.
Yeah, cool.
Cole's arc was brutally predictable, almost painfully predictable.
Liu Kang should have been the lead, 100%.
Yeah, I've always been a Kung Lao guy, but Liu Kang has been the lead. He should be the lead. He was actually the lead in all the Mortal Kombat games up until 10 when they rewrote history with time travel.
Later games. But I mean, like the whole thing was always about Liu Kang discovering this tournament and everything.
Yeah, exactly. But like that's it. That's really my only major like.
Okay, well, I'll kind of go through it.
Oh, sorry. And of course, when you get introduced to Titan, you get introduced to Scorpion at the beginning.
Yeah.
And they hide the baby. I was like, that's totally fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's totally fucking cool. So like right from the beginning, I was already just like, no, I can't. So that's it. That's the last thing I mentioned about that storyline.
That wasn't actually cool, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But still,
the girl, and he eventually came down the bloodline later, but
yeah. So eventually, it was him though. Like it was because of the baby that he was. So, and that's what I mean. Like if you got to that point, you're just like, of course you're the descendant of Scorpion. Like,
yeah.
And that doesn't make you any cooler. That's the worst part. I wasn't like, oh, that's cool. It was like, God. And those Tanta things he had without even actually being blades. I was like, what? Are you in Street Fighter or are you in Mortal Kombat? What game are you supposed to be in? Because it feels like Street Fighter.
Yeah. So yeah, the Cole Young stuff for sure. Goro, obviously, we touched on that. And here's my problem with Goro too. And I dislike the fact that Cole's the one that killed him.
Yeah, 100%.
But what really pisses me off, like I'm fine with them holding off on the tournament until the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Goro died outside of the tournament pisses me off. He should have been a boss-like character in the tournament, like the second movie.
Actually, yeah, you know what? I didn't like that Goro was, now that like we're talking about it, because if I would have rewatched it, it would have been more fresh, but I didn't like how Goro was a henchman too.
I did not like that either. Like Shang Tsung going, "Oh, Prince Goro, nice of you to help us," and then it's like, "Oh, what makes him a prince? Like, who is this guy? Is he just a big guy with 4 arms?" Like,
and they definitely played it like that.
At least in the original movie, they told you why you should be afraid of Goro.
Right, and I think part of that is where the makers of this movie, they made it so that it was kind of like watching it's like watching anything that's got a specific niche to it where they don't explain stuff because they feel like the audience is already familiar with it. So they don't need to be told that Goro is a prince and his lineage is this and is helping out Shang Tsung for whatever reason because they go, yeah, well they watched the previous movies, they played all the video games, they watched everything. So they don't need all that. And
why the fuck do we need Cole Young?
Yeah, why not? Why have like a significant? It totally
contradicts the other thing.
A third of that plot is devoted to this guy, and you can't spend like an extra 3 minutes going like, "Well, this is Goro, and this is why he's here, and this is why he's dangerous." Instead, he was Joe Thug. He was like Bane in Batman and Robin. Where in the comic books, Bane is like a big deal. Like he's super smart like Batman, super strategic like Batman. He's super strong like Batman. He also has access to Venom, which makes him a jacked freak. But in that movie, he was just a henchman.
Yeah.
Bane.
Yeah, Bane.
I think he actually said Bane Smash.
Wrong movie, buddy.
Yeah, you're potentially infringing on copyrights, but whatever. So, okay, so yeah.
And then, like running through the cast real quick. Sonya Blade, Jessica McNamee, she had the look. I just didn't get her as like a military type of person. Like I never bought her, especially after watching that Legacies where that Jerry something. What the hell's her last name? Like
Jerry
I
Ryan.
could buy her. I
It's
could buy
Jerry
her
Ryan.
like this badass military like chick, right? I never got it with her. I thought it was
Well, I think it's partly
I want to say
because
poor casting. It was just not the casting I would have done.
I actually think it's more or less in terms of the stage direction and how they introduced her, because they didn't introduce her like really as this military heavy.
Yeah,
they kind of introduced her as just somebody that was kind of there, and then all of a sudden you found out retroactively that she was part of the military type of thing, as opposed to it being a part of her character.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problems with the actress at all. In fact, I thought she did a really fine job. I think it's one of those. It's same with Cole though, where she did a really good job with what she was given.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. Like I felt like I also would have liked to seen her and Jax together beforehand to show, their chemistry.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I agree.
So,
but this was a fairly quick movie too, though.
Fairly quick, and again, this is why I feel like Cole wasn't needed. They could have had a straight up just Jackson going after this whole Mortal Kombat thing.
That would have been like honestly, that would have been fine. You would have still had the
doubling
stuff.
on to Sub-Zero, like all of it.
Yeah, you would have still been able to do the Kano stuff. You still, in fact, by removing Cole entirely, and not the actor though. The actor could have been cast as anyone else.
Easily.
Anyone else, but you remove that entire plot and it actually instantly becomes a better movie because now you've opened up more time to explain Sonya, the relationship between her and Jax, because a lot of times movies will tell you stuff and you're like, yeah, that's great, but if you show it to me, you show me something and within a minute I go, that's a really cool, and I will use a Joss Whedon movie to describe what I'm talking about. Okay. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
The relationship between Bucky and, or not Bucky, Hawkeye and Black Widow is immediately shown in Avengers. Within a minute of their screen time together, you already have a sense of how long they've been working together.
Yeah.
The level of their friendship. There's no like, oh, I think they're going to hook up feeling. It's straight up. They're friends. They're partners. Right.
Yep.
And when he's taken over, you immediately see how important it is for her to get him back.
Yeah.
They could have done that with Sonya Blade and Jax with 5 minutes. And I know I say this, we say this a lot, like, 5 minutes, here and there, and you cut this and that. And it's easy to say you devote 5 minutes, but I mean, there's a couple of things they could have, like, you take out the Cole stuff, you've got about, 40 minutes to play with now?
Yeah, so now you can either bring Johnny in or you can actually dig into all these different characters. Like Liu Kang, how the fuck did you get to that temple? What's your backstory? Like, you're the main character from the games.
And him and Kung Lao, their backstories were just like, well, we've been fighting these guys for a while. Yeah,
your Shaolin monks. It really pissed me off that we got all this Cole shit. I want to know about Liu Kang.
The more I talk about it, I'm like, my minor dislike is the Cole thing, and I'm like, actually, no, the Cole thing is a pretty big dislike.
It's a huge dislike, and that's why, like, as much as I enjoyed this movie and I want to see the sequel, I'm kind of just like, but then if I see the sequel, I see more of Cole.
I don't know. I have a feeling that, like, depending on who they cast for Johnny Cage is part of it. But I have a feeling that once they get to the sequel and they actually start doing the tournament and they get to introduce more of these characters, I don't think Cole is going to be as big a focal point. And I think a lot of the reviews have been singling out Cole in general. And I have a feeling that these guys are going to look at it and kind of go, okay, let's kind of just have him there, but not necessarily be a focal point. Especially because you've got a fan favorite like Johnny Cage, Johnny Cage is like the fan favorite. He was the first character I ever played as Mortal Kombat.
Same.
And mostly because he was a normal looking dude, you know.
Yeah.
But and I frequently played as him. I Liu Kang as well. I played as Liu Kang for a bit, and then like Kung Lao in the second one, you start figuring out what characters work for you. But
yep.
I do think that they will. He won't be the lead in the second one. I have a strong feeling he won't be the lead.
I hope so. I mean, because now we're going to be getting to the tournament, and that means there's going to be losers along the way. And I don't want to see Cole at the top of the mountain. Like Liu Kang should be up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially after seeing Kung Lao die in this.
Which really surprised me.
Yeah.
Really surprised me.
I know.
I mean, they had to raise the stakes, right? And they couldn't kill Cole.
and to go off of that for a moment, the actor for Shang Tsung, I never really cared for him. And again, it's because I'm comparing him to the amazing Cary Haruki Tagawa from '95.
Well,
it was the perfect Shang Tsung. The perfect.
Yeah.
Black eyes. I didn't really like how he had black eyes the whole time.
I didn't like that either, but so that was where I was like, I was kind of forgiven because like I also loved Christopher Lambert as Raiden.
Yeah.
I thought it was just really cool that he was Raiden. He didn't make it for the second one, but whatever.
Yeah, the second doesn't exist.
That's right. The second one shouldn't exist. But this guy, like, I know a lot of complaints were like, this guy, Tadanobu, didn't look like Raiden. And I was like, nah, he looked like Raiden. Like, if you look at the cinemas in the most recent games, it looks very close to what Raiden looks like now.
His stature,
so that wasn't a complaint.
He's a little smaller than what I think Raiden would be. But
Otherwise,
I thought it was really solid. I mean, like even Ludi Lin as Liu Kang, at first I was like, he's really tiny. But then you see him take a shirt off, he's just ripped, like no fucking fat on the body at all.
Bruce Lee ripped. And
I'm like, okay.
He pulls out a fireball and you're just like, okay, that's Liu Kang. That's fucking Liu Kang.
That's Liu Kang, 100%.
And the bicycle kick, you're like, this motherfucker knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So it was, so that was fine.
Yeah, no, I thought, Raiden was well casted. I thought all of the cast was really great. Kano is hands down the highlight of the movie for casting. Josh Lawson was
and what he did with the role too, like they just must have had him sit there and go, okay, just fucking ad lib shit.
Yeah, just go for it.
But like, so he was great, and then when you meet Cabal later, I was just like, oh fuck, we got another one. This is great. And it's like when because Kano's with the good guys at the time, and then Cabal's just like, oh, there's that Kano. He's a low down fucking piece of shit. You're gonna love him. I was like, oh shit. Because of course, like when you're a fan of the games and stuff, the whole time you're watching, you're just like, okay, like at what point does Kano fuck him over? Yeah. It's gotta be coming soon.
So like not on that side.
And this is kind of funny because like, so with Kano, immediately you're like, his plot is very like predictable, he's gonna, as first chance he gets, he's gonna side with the bad guys. But instead of it being like with Cole, it was me going like, when's it gonna happen? Yeah. When's it gonna happen?
Yeah.
And a large part of that is because Lawson was so good as Kano. Like, I don't remember Kano ever being that entertaining in any of the games. He was just like a prick that would rip your heart out and give you an eye blast. Whereas here I was like, man, more of that guy.
Yeah, he was friggin' perfect.
Just so good. So good.
And again, I got totally lost in the roles and everything, that it never even clicked to me that was Josh Lawson from Superstore until after.
I knew right away. As soon as I seen him, I was like, holy shit.
Again, though, it was like there's something familiar about him. But you know what? I think it was the accent too throwing me off. And James told me later, he's like, holy shit, that's the guy from Superstore. I was like, oh man, is that why he wasn't in the last season? He was off shooting Mortal Kombat.
Oh, by the way, I haven't seen all of the last season, so don't say anything about it.
I meant season before. I haven't seen the new one at all yet. I can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to watch it. But I think I'm pretty good with negatives now. Like I think, the rest is positives. And I mean, like a ton of the positives are coming off of Scorpion Sub-Zero. So
I was just gonna say, like,
so much.
And like that's another thing. So the Scorpion Sub-Zero plot line, that could have been the major plot line instead of the Cole stuff.
Yeah.
It was so good, but like
it's
it
crazy.
was so good from like you see them as both normal, relatively normal human beings.
Yeah, like
right?
centuries ago or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Sub-Zero is Chinese invading this. Like
Japanese.
they didn't really touch like why did he have it on for this family? Did they really touch on that? Like, did he kill someone that Sub-Zero knew, or it seemed like he had blood on his hands, but they never really went into it.
I can't remember exactly. For some reason, I just thought it was one of those where, you know, it was like
because he knew his name.
I thought it felt to me like it was one of those where he just wanted to prove he was better than the greatest swordsman who ever lived.
Okay. And at this point he was kind of just living the good life with the family and
he was trying to retire in secrecy. He didn't want he was done. He probably he might even have killed like a family member. I can't remember exactly, but that was such a good rivalry. And they were both really good. Like, and the funny part is that I always liked Sub-Zero and in the games, and I never really got into the lore until later, until you find out that Sub-Zero is actually the bad guy and Scorpion's the good guy. So I was like, oh fuck, and he does a good job of making you hate Scorpion or Sub-Zero. Sorry, like really, you're just like Jesus.
Forever, I thought Scorpion was the bad guy. I mean, the guy has a skeleton face and blows fire on people. Like that's got to be the bad guy.
Yeah, he's like trapped in hell, and then you find out why.
The fact that they open this movie with those two.
Yeah, but isn't it?
It really set the tone. I was like, "Oh shit, this is like legit. This isn't cheesy at all right now. This is fucking good, fucking good." And then when Sub-Zero like makes his next appearance and he's walking down the streets towards Cole, and all the snow is blowing and everything, that was epic, man. Like, that
was so fucking cool. Like they did some really cool things with it. Like I read online that some people were griping about how you know, they got their powers and how like they were chosen ones type of thing. I was fine with it. I was like, that's an easy way of explaining why they got to fight in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, and also an easy way to explain why they would have powers, because when Mortal Kombat Annihilation, when fucking Liu Kang was turning into a dragon with no explanation, I was like, this is stupid as fuck.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, this makes no fucking sense at all.
Sense. So now
so like at least and fireballs, like you throw a fireball as a normal human being, no one's gonna be like, oh, cool. They're going to be like, whoa, how the fuck do you do that? Right. So I thought it was a quick and easy way of explaining it. And I actually liked it. I actually thought, oh, I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, same here.
You know? But the fight scenes, those fight scenes, I mean, we got to see fatalities. And they were fucking brutal when Kung Lao did his hat thing and then used it as like the circular saw on the ground. And like pulled the guy through. I was just like, oh.
I think that was really the only death in the movie that was like, all right, that's up there with the games.
Yeah, but like, I also think we're gonna see more of that in the sequel. Which
for sure.
It's awesome that I'm saying this like that. We're totally getting a sequel. Like I feel good that we're getting a sequel.
It's happening.
Because when I watched this, I was like, man, I really hope this did well because I really want to see a sequel. Yeah. I'm actually like. I'm glad that this wasn't the tournament, that this was like setting the stage for the tournament. I'm glad that they did a lot of the story stuff now, so that way they can hit the ground running and get your story beats in between fights.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's so good. I forget where I was going.
Sub-Zero and Scorpion rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Taslim's amazing. Like, I've loved this guy since the Raid. So when I heard he was Sub-Zero, I was like,
that's where he's from. Okay, so now I'm catching up where I'm just like,
yeah, he's the Raid.
I recognize him, but I couldn't place him. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So they're like Haruki Sanada.
Sanada. I always say Sanada.
That sounds more Japanese. You're probably right on that. Sanada, love this guy with a passion. So when they said he was playing Scorpion, I was like, oh, that's perfect. So perfect. And then they go, and Joe Taslim's going to be Sub-Zero. And I was like, Well, that cast is just bang on.
I just did one of these where
fight.
when the movie opened, I was like, "Oh, this guy's in the fucking movie."
Yeah.
And he's Hasashi. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be fucking good." And then when I saw that guy, I was like, "I recognize him. This is gonna be good."
Yeah.
So I was super pumped about that. Like, oh,
so pumped. And I love how powered up Sub-Zero was. Like, oh, it's gonna take all of us to take on Sub-Zero. Like,
yeah, they made him out to be a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
And now, like, I guess because they show that he's dead, but is it possible that he becomes Shadow in the sequel? Because isn't that what happens in the games? The original Sub-Zero dies and he becomes Shadow.
Shadow Sub-Zero, yeah. Yeah, there was that. Yeah, he came back like with a friggin' tank top and a ponytail.
Right. Yes, that's right. That's right.
I don't know what they're gonna do with that. I mean,
I don't know. I think they'll just bring it back.
Took his body just like he took Goro's body. So
I think that he just comes back. Like they just bring him back to life, and that's it.
Yeah.
Same with Goro. I think Goro comes back to life, but we'll see what happens.
The thing is, when Goro's in the tournament, he's not a big threat anymore because Cole Young beat him. You know, in the back.
I know. And that's gonna like. Could you imagine that too? Like, like Goro, like Prince Goro's like literally just like this.
Yeah.
And then like Cole shows up, and then Goro's just like, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna sit this one out."
I thought this guy chopped my hand off last time. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm stepping out. That's why I thought it would have been way better if the Shang Tsung stuff happened before the characters died. And I know they want to have the deaths because it's Mortal Kombat, you need death. But if Shang Tsung would have pulled Goro and the Sub-Zero away before they died, it would have made them feel like a greater threat in the sequel.
I will agree with the Goro aspect, but not so much with Sub-Zero because he was a legit threat, and it took everybody to beat him.
And he could,
and even then, you could argue that he didn't actually die; he was just down.
Yeah. Whereas Goro,
you could argue that. You could also argue that he's just down too. Like, there's way. I mean, these are otherworldly folks, so you could argue.
Definitely.
But well, they're gonna have to do something because those are two fan favorite characters that they took out in the first movie, and it wasn't even in the tournament.
Yeah.
So they have to do something.
They got to come back. I mean,
it's that simple.
Nobody gives a shit about what's their names, Natara or Raiko.
No, I mean, like it's only fans of those characters that are going to give a shit about. But like, I mean, they were cast because
Kung Lao is different.
Sorry,
Kung Lao dying is kind of crazy, but that I think is just to really push Liu Kang versus Shang Tsung in the sequel.
Which I hope to see. Like I said, like I don't feel like Cole will end up being the lead. I do feel like someone else will be the lead, and it should be Liu Kang.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I'm okay with that. If it turns out that Cole Young was the main in this, just to be like the viewer's perspective into everything, and then Liu Kang takes over as the lead in the sequel, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's still pointless. They didn't need to do this. Pointless. But at least it'd be better in that respect. So you don't get rid of Cole completely, and also you can shift it too, because then if Cole dies, which unfortunately I think like he should, but if he dies, then you have somebody to step up and be like, "Oh, I'm the leader, and I should have been the leader all along."
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Overall, like I said, I did like seeing Melina though. That surprised
me. Was really cool.
I forgot Reptile too. Reptile I thought was really cool
Reptile
too.
Made that cool little appearance. Melina was surprising though, showing her
really surprising.
Katana. Like it's weird to have her and not Katana.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But I mean that just means that we're gonna get Katana. So
so now we know Katana will be around.
Yeah, exactly.
It was not as violent as I was expecting.
No,
coming off of Mortal Kombat, it wasn't as violent as I was expecting.
No, you're right. It could have been more. It could have been much more. Although that Kung Lao fucking fatality, that was rough. Like I was just like, oh, and that's how you should be looking at them. It shouldn't be like, oh, this is awesome. It should be like, oh, this is gross.
Yeah, just the head splitting open like this, like, and then Kung Lao stands up and goes, "Flawless victory." I was like, no way, no
That
way.
was so awesome. I love that. That was so great.
Oh man.
So great.
So yeah, overall, I think it's a really
Oh,
really good.
and the animality. We forgot about the animality.
The animality.
Yeah, or Liu Kang dragon. The flame dragon.
Like a fire dragon, yeah.
Yeah, the flame dragon looked awesome, and I was like, "What a cool way to get an animality in there too." So that was really
very
cool.
cool.
And like, as far as a like potential franchise starter, does a great job at setting the scene. You know, setting the table, saying that the tournament is for the state of the entire existence as we know it. You know, we've got these characters, they can do these things, but also we got to find these characters. And then, you know, they leave it looking for Johnny Cage. You're just like, I can't wait. I honestly, like, the second I finish that movie, I'm like, where's the sequel? I want the sequel right now. I don't want to wait.
No.
I want to watch it now.
I was pretty pumped to see it directly lead into Johnny Cage for the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Hey, if Miz gets it, I'm fine with that.
I actually would be like, I'd be over the moon. Like, I think it'd be
over
perfect.
the moon. Yeah.
It's very rare that I would be like,
Johnny
yes,
Cage,
yes, cast an actor, wrestler in this role 100%. And more often than not, I'd be like, for the Miz, like, I'm not going to say he's a terrible actor because his movies made money. So, you know, he was doing something right, obviously. And he's just a likable guy, like in general, like in real life.
Yeah.
I've watched interviews with him and stuff like that. And I'm just like, he's just he's really good at making you hate him. So he's really good at his job. He really knows what he's doing. But yeah, I would love it if he got it. And I like that there's a fan petition for him to get the role. So I mean, and he even said, like, I'd do it.
It'd be great. I mean, it'd be so great whether he gets, you know, the A-OK to go do it or not.
They'd be stupid not to. They would, but I also think, like, because the Miz has very much been like John Cena in the sense that he's a company guy through and through. He sings the praises of WWE. And even though, like, he didn't have the best time coming up in the company, he's still just like, this company's great. And I mean, look at the life he has. He met his wife because of WWE, right?
Yep.
They're married. They've got 2 kids. His entire life is owed to the WWE. Yes, he was, you know, a reality TV star prior to that. But it's hard to say that that would have allowed him to get into where he's at now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Miz and Mrs., the reality TV show, I think is on their 3rd season.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because he's likable. He's just outside of wrestling, even in wrestling as a bad guy. Like, you know, every now and then you get that bad guy. You're like, I really like this guy, even though he's supposed to be a bad guy. Well, that's the myth. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Like, and the only thing that kind of kills it with me with him right now is just the direction of the character.
Yeah.
Like, I know that they're building towards a split between him and John Morrison, and I mean, it doesn't need to happen. Yeah. They can stay together. They could be douchebags, heels, like they're doing. Like, they're entertaining and they're really good at their job. And I think that's what it is. He's so good at making people hate him that now you respect him and you like him and you go, well, you know what? Yes, I'll boo you, but I'm also gonna clap you. It's like Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was so good at being a heel that you're like, yeah, he's so good though. He's so good. And Roman Reigns right now, so good at being a heel that you have nothing but a ton of respect for him for making that leap too. Like, he could have went the easy way out and did like that cool, like, NWO heel. No, he wants you to boo him.
Yep.
And once you start cheering him, he's like, we got to shift gears because you got to boo me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. And again, that's very much like Jericho. Jericho does the same thing. If he wants you to boo him, you're gonna boo him.
Oh yeah, he'll make you boo him.
Yeah.
Although great as the bad guy.
Roman is still selling merch, whereas Jericho, when he did his suit wearing heel work, no catchphrases and no t-shirts, no merch. Like, Vince was literally like, we gotta make t-shirts, and he's like, no, we're not doing any merch for this. I don't want to see any t-shirts of mine in the audience. That's for baby faces.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind seeing the Miz in the sequel. I'd be cool with that.
I actually would be disappointed if he doesn't get the role.
But then, hey, who do we go with? Like, I'm assuming Shang Tsung will be the bad guy in the sequel. But what if they do Shao Kahn? Like, who would play Shao Kahn? Like, that is fun.
Well, I mean, isn't the actor that played him in the original still alive?
Oh, in the Annihilation, yeah, he is.
Why not get him?
No, no.
He's a fine actor. You know, he plays that burly douchebag pretty good. So why not?
He was a freaking daddy's boy in Annihilation. I couldn't believe they made Shao Kahn like listen to his daddy the whole movie.
Well,
like,
not only that, but they also had like Shao Kahn looked young too.
Yeah,
and he shouldn't have. He should have looked like kind of a grizzled veteran type of thing.
You know what? I'd be okay with Batista playing Shao Kahn.
Yeah, I would be very, especially because he's also a very underrated actor. So
yeah,
why not?
Big things right now.
Batista would be a good choice.
It's got to be someone big, like not acting wise, but like Jack.
Yeah,
like,
just someone big. Yeah,
intimidating for Shao Kahn.
Well, and that's the other thing too. So, especially because now you've got like Mikad Brooks there, who's clearly been hitting the weights lately.
Yeah.
Possibly something else too, but whatever. It is what it is. I don't want to make it sound like I hate on people for using steroids. Like, I don't make it sound like that. Like, it's all just choice.
Yeah.
And the guy using steroids doesn't hurt me in any way. So, fuck it. I mean, like, honestly, I've said before in these Camcasts, if you don't think, Hugh Jackman or Henry Cavill or any of those guys did steroids, they did steroids. They don't tell you that because people frown upon it and they go, but I mean, some of these guys are getting in these crazy shape within like short time frames.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if Cavill didn't do steroids, it wouldn't surprise me too much. Like, I remember in an interview that he said his trainer was like, we could do it two ways. Do you want to use steroids? And Cavill said no. And the guy said, okay, I'll train you. So it's entirely possible that that's true. But the reality is, I mean, look at some of these guys at their age and the shape they're in. Like Hugh Jackman towards the end of his run. Are you going to tell me he wasn't on steroids?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that.
No, it isn't. It's easy. It's easy to say yes or no, but the reality is I would be amazed if he was clean. I don't think he was.
I mean, he didn't have that physique for X-Men. Like, he worked on that throughout all the movies.
Right. He did.
Yeah.
He definitely did. But, and I'm going to pinpoint X-Men Origins Wolverine as the point where I go, now I think he's starting to take steroids. Because he's also, every movie, he's older.
Yes.
So he's got to continue to be, middle-aged, late 30s, early 40s Wolverine, while he's, becoming now like closer to his 50s, right?
Yeah.
The older you get, he got better shape every step of the way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this again, like I'm not hating. I'm just saying I will be amazed if he was clean for the last couple of movies. Specifically from Origins on, I'll be amazed if he was clean. Just like I think The Rock's on roids.
Hey, Rock could be on roids. He said he got all jacked up when he did Faster, and he said Hugh Jackman showed me what to do to get jacked up. So maybe he said, "Hey, roids."
I don't think he had to because Rock came from wrestling.
Yeah.
Rock came from wrestling. Okay. Rock was on roids when he was in wrestling,
but he was never that big.
No, and I'll say this: like I think when he first started out, when he was like Flex Havana and Rocky Maivia,
yep.
I bet you he was on roids then, just because that's kind of part and parcel with what you would do. But later, like when he started becoming The Rock, especially because he had the surgery for his nipples.
Yeah,
that part there is a pretty clear indication that he was doing steroids. I don't know for sure, but I mean, some guys do it and some guys don't. Like Shawn Michaels did it for a bit, but he didn't like how heavy he got, and for his wrestling style, it made no sense. And Rock was similar in the sense that like the later run of the Rock is much more explosive, much more faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's less about strength and more about just being physically better than everybody. Jericho is another one. I think he said he only did steroids once or twice, but he just didn't like what it did for him. You know?
Yeah, I mean, makes
It
sense.
depends on the person. The Rock now, 100% is on steroids.
I'm shocked. Like he's getting to the point where I'm like, how are you still moving? Like,
Well, and that's just it. And again, like I don't want to turn this into like I don't want anyone to think I'm knocking this. I'm not. I'm just saying it's okay if you're doing steroids as long as you're being safe about it. It's okay. And obviously, these guys are doing it, for their job. Like, I mean, you're gonna tell me that like you, Kenneth Levitsky, if someone said, "Hey, we'll cast you to be Wolverine, but you need to get jacked in 4 months," that you're gonna just do straight weights?
Yep.
And then you're gonna go
You're ready to
okay.
go.
You're gonna lift weights for sure, and you're gonna get on a diet, and you're gonna have a nutritionist and a trainer and all that stuff. But you're also gonna sit there and look at the time frame and go, "Yeah, let's do roids. Let's just do roids." And I would do it too. Like, I'm not gonna just throw you under
Hey,
the
if
bus.
it was the Wolverine, I'd be like, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
If they said, "Chris, we're doing Alpha Flight, and we need you to be Puck,"
where in reality you're the right height for Wolverine. You should be.
But I'm also the right height for Puck. I mean, yes, Puck I think was like 3'6" in the comic books or something like that. But they always make him bigger in the movies anyway, right? So 5'3" in Wolverine becomes 6. Whatever Jackman was 6'1", 6'2",
6'2", yeah, 6'2",
6'2", something like that. So
full,
whatever.
yeah.
But I would need to be bulkier. I would need to be as wide as I am tall. I would do steroids if they were like, "Yeah, we'll pay you this amount of money to be Puck." I would say fucking A.
I just fucking realized that we need to do a Alpha Flight fan film.
No kidding, eh?
I'm Sasquatch. I'm like,
oh yeah, you are some Walter Langowski right there.
Yeah. We just need to find a snowbird and a guardian and
that's easy. You just
Vindicator. Yeah.
Yep. Just hot chicks and James Hudson is the guardian.
Shaman.
I think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
North Star, the North Star twins. It was
Aurora.
Yeah, that's right. Aurora. Yeah. So off getting away from that steroid rant.
Yeah, I don't worry.
This movie's awesome. I loved it. I thought it was great. I will definitely rewatch it. I like it so much that the cool stuff doesn't bog down the movie for me.
It doesn't bog it down. Like, I'm definitely gonna rewatch it.
It doesn't help it. It does not help it at all.
It does not help it. I mean, and maybe this isn't saying much though. It's easily probably in the top 5 for video game movies now.
Sadly, that's not saying much.
It's not saying much.
Well, I mean,
not really.
So I would say like Mortal Kombat, like this one, the most recent Tomb Raider.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought the
Rampage.
Sorry?
Rampage.
Oh, I haven't watched that one yet. Rampage. But that did look awesome. That looked absolutely awesome.
Rampage is awesome.
Yeah, that looked awesome. So I could see that. Yeah. Okay. What else do you got?
Oh man, what have we had for video game movies lately?
Because all I'm thinking of is
Monster Hunter came out. Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, but I haven't seen that one.
All the Resident Evils. Oh, Silent Hill would be my top 5. The first Silent Hill.
Yeah, Silent Hill was that was creepy. I was disappointed that didn't become a franchise. The Resident Evil movies were fun though. I remember I liked what they did with the first one, how they changed enough of it so that
first one was really good. I think number 4 is my favorite. 3 or 4.
Which one's the one in the desert?
Extinction, number 3.
I thought that one was all right. I liked that one.
I really liked that one. And then 4, there's 6 of them. Number 5 was awful. Number 5 is hands down the worst one. Garbage.
I can't get over how there was 6 of them.
Number 6, the final chapter was pretty decent, but like, yeah, number 5, I was like, oh wow, this series needs to end. And that was coming off of the fantastic number 4. Number 4 is so good.
I gotta watch the fourth. What's the fourth one called?
Retribution, was that 5? I always forget the name of the Resident Evil. Apocalypse is number 2. Extinction is 3. I want to say Retribution was 4.
Okay.
I have them kicking around here. Yeah, 4 and 5 I get mixed up with the titles. All right. Number 6 is the final chapter. That's easy to remember.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
But yeah, no, I think probably right now the Rampage of the Tomb Raider reboot would be my favorite video game.
Yeah, I actually really like the Tomb Raider
was
reboot.
really good.
And I that was one where I remember, like, I heard they were going to do a sequel, then they weren't going to do a sequel.
Yeah.
And now they are still kind of talking about doing a sequel.
Yeah. The pandemic pushed it back, but it's still happening apparently.
Which is good because, like, I was pumped about that. And also because, like, I mean, I was literally just starting to play the reboot games, right? So
yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, all right. We got some elements of the first game in there with some elements of like some new stuff. Like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah. Needless to say, Mortal Kombat is a winner, guys. And
yeah.
if you like it, great. If you don't, also great.
Oh, quickly, Scorpion talking in Japanese the whole time was friggin' awesome. However, him pulling out the "get over here" in English.
I don't care. I loved it. I loved it so much. I thought it was so
good. But I was just like, wait a minute, he doesn't talk English.
I don't care. I'm fine with it.
But yeah, oh man, Scorpion Sub-Zero. They could just have another movie with just 2 of them, and I'm down.
Oh yeah, no
kidding. Like how even if they release like an animated prequel showing you like their origins beforehand.
But they reprise their roles as the voice actors. That would be incredible. That would be incredible. That would absolutely be incredible. Also, I don't know if you heard me say this earlier, but your shirt is awesome.
Oh,
that is how old is that shirt?
This is brand new.
I was gonna say because I've never seen you wear that.
This is a company called Fight Rags. They do all like horror movie T-shirts, like licensed shirts, and they make the greatest shirts. Like, look at the side. So we got the thing going down.
I know.
Going down the arm. And then
plus, I love the color scheme too.
This side is awesome. You got McCready down here with the flamethrower going up the arm.
That is awesome. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
I have a blank bleed shirt from Old Navy.
It's a nice shirt, man.
Thank you.
I got Thing lounge pants too. They're so soft and silky.
That's awesome. That's so cool. That is so cool. One of the best movies of all time, that one is.
Oh God, I love the Thing so much.
So good.
So much. Like Halloween is my favorite John Carpenter movie, but the Thing is just nipping at its tail. Like it's right behind it. They're so good. Oh.
Yeah, it's really tough to like even for me personally, I'm saying like Halloween to me is more horrifying.
Yeah.
And we talked about it in the Camcast. It's more horrifying because of how it was shot, the concept behind it, and just like that whole like stalker aspect.
Yeah.
Where like it's horrifying to watch these characters get stalked by Michael in broad daylight and they don't notice him. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, good God. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why it's one of the most horrifying movies, because a lot of the stuff happens in the daytime and you're just like, good God.
Yeah.
Oh, such a good movie.
Love it.
But yes, I would say The Thing is a very close second.
Yeah.
But as far as John Carpenter movies, nothing tops Escape from New York. Oh, no. Escape from Las Vegas.
No.
That's the one.
Los Angeles.
Right?
LA.
Los Angeles. Yes. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, no, that is the pinnacle of his career.
Yeah. nothing gets past, like, you get to that point, you just call it a day. You've
Yeah.
done everything you could.
That's as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah, it's like Steven Spielberg with Jurassic Park. That's it. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Escape from LA is definitely Carpenter's Jurassic Park.
I love every time we reference this, and when I mention that movie, I always go, I remember watching it, and I remember like thinking it was supposed to be really good because Escape from New York is supposed to be amazing.
Yep.
And it was so bad that I was like, I don't know if I want to watch Escape from New York.
And Escape from New York is amazing.
I've never watched it all the way through now that I think about it.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. That would probably be number 3 on my Carpenter list.
Well, I guess so, right?
There's only 2 Carpenter movies not in my collection: Escape from LA.
Yeah. What's the other one?
Village of the Damned. Just never cared for it.
Village of the Damned. I don't even think I've seen that one. That's part of that Children of the Damned. Excuse me, franchise, right?
No, it's its own thing. Nope. It's got Christy Alley and Christopher Reeve in one of his last starring roles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like, right. Vampires.
I love vampires.
Vampires is so good.
Vampires is awesome, man. James Woods is a piece of shit, but damn, I love that movie. Vampires. So I even like Ghost of Mars. A lot of people rip that apart.
I liked Ghost of Mars too. I remember watching that with you at the store, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
I think originally that was supposed to be an escape movie, like with Kurt Russell, and then they switched it over to that.
Still
liked it. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Nope, not at all, man. So yeah, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
I'm really happy they brought back the techno theme from the original movie.
I know.
when that credits hit, it was like Mortal Kombat. I was like, yes.
I honestly would have been disappointed. I would have been so disappointed.
It was a really cool cover too. Like, it was a very nice updated cover of the original.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the whole time I was like, I wonder if they're gonna have any cameos in here. Like Robin Shue will be in the background or something. And we went the whole movie without any cameos. I was like, okay, they're not really gonna touch on the original movie. And then the theme music hit. And I was like, oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. I'm happy.
No, it was good. It was really good.
I watched the credits twice. I only watched the movie once, but I watched the credits twice.
Fair enough. I
had to hear the music.
What's that phrase? You do you, right?
Me. I do me.
Cool. Well, Geek Mancers, so that it concludes our Mortal Kombat 2021 Camcast. Thanks again for joining us. Tune in to us in next couple of weeks, give or take. Yeah. For the Invincible Camcast. What else do we got on the dockets there? We got Invincible.
Black Widow's coming out soon.
We'll
have Black Widow, and then by the time those are done, we'll probably be getting close to Loki. So.
So yes, stay tuned for all of that goodness. We do really appreciate it. Our subscriber list is jumping. I'm pretty pumped about that.
We're over 200.
Which is incredible, absolutely incredible.
We shot up like 25 subscribers in the last month. I was like, it's weird. The less content I put out, the more subscribers we get.
Yeah, and I even noticed like some of the views, like some of them aren't even going past like 10 views, and we're just getting it. So, but keep it coming, guys. Like, we really appreciate it. In fact, one of these days, I thought about this the other day, and I'm springing this on Ken for the first time. One of these days, we're going to get a list of all of our subscribers, except for C.R. Mercier, because fuck that guy.
Yeah, he's a dude.
And I'm going to read them out and say thank you to every single one of you. So whatever the number is, if it's 225 minus myself, I will read them all out and say thank you, because we do really appreciate it. Yep. Because I've said a million times before, we'll be doing this regardless of you guys watching or not, but it's awesome that you guys are joining, subscribing, liking, sharing. All of these things are great. That's what people do on YouTube, right? Yeah. That's what they say, right?
That's the list. For every 25th name is going to remove a piece of clothing. I just shot that out for the first time.
Yep. I'm going to remove a piece of clothing. You heard it here first.
And then the camera will slowly start to pan away to just me going, "Oh fuck!"
And also the embarrassment.
Take your pants off. I can't tell.
The embarrassment of being aroused by it too.
Yeah. No.
But all jokes aside, we do really appreciate it. We really, really do. And as always, I mean, you can see us on YouTube. You can see us on Instagram. You can see us on Twitter. You can see us on Facebook. You can hear us on Google Podcasts. You can hear us on SoundCloud. You can hear us on Apple Podcasts. And also you can check us out. Well, mostly Chris Fedek. You can check out Chris Fedek, who is prolific on geekpantsmedia.com. He has shown us up repeatedly on that website.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk about things that I may or may not do for that website, because then if I do it, it's a surprise. But if I don't, it's like, come on, Chris, stop saying this shit. So maybe one of these days
you wrote that one article. You wrote that one article, and it was so good. It's like, do you do another one, or do you just call it a day with that one great one? You'd be like that woman that wrote, what was it? To Kill a Mockingbird. She only wrote 2 books in her whole career.
No, I think I've got another one. I've got, like, I'm rolling around with ideas, and it's hard because you want to pick the follow-up, right?
Yeah.
But I do think I've got something. And the other part is just finding the time to write it, right?
Yeah.
And then finding the time to edit it.
I hear all that, man.
Yeah.
Like, I could do that, or I can finish playing Horizon.
That's right. You know, I could watch the entire, like, Captain America run in the MCU and write an article based on that. Or, like you said, I could play Horizon. And as of right now, the choice is almost always play Horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually Horizon will be over, and then we'll have time to play another game.
That's right. That's right, because Days Gone is coming up soon.
This is the first time, I believe, in history that you and I have played the same game at the same time.
The worst part is for a while there, we were like at the same kind of spot from different sections of the map, and then you just took off and went like, "Fuck this shit." But then I forgot that you were also doing story missions. You were almost doing exclusive. Yeah.
I went full main quest. I'm playing on an easier difficulty, so I'm leveling like way quicker.
It's weird that they do that. Like, I would have thought that even though it's an easier difficulty, that you would level up the same time.
Yeah, like I'm level 41 now. From when?
Yes, yeah, that's nuts. And like when we talked, and I was at 27.
Yeah.
So since then, I'm at like 32.
Okay,
so for you to be at 41,
gone up 5, and I've gone up. I've probably gone around 5 too. Then I guess.
You were 34 when we talked about this, so you 34? Went up 7 levels.
Okay, so I've gone. So I'm going a little quicker. Leveling's a little quicker. But I mean, I've cleared all the corrupted zones. I've done all the cauldrons.
But that's the thing. So I haven't done all the cauldrons, and I haven't cleared out all the corrupted zones. Yeah. I think I still have one more bandit cab to do.
I finished those off too. So really, all I got to do now is go around, find all the metal flowers and those Banuk figures, and that's it.
Metal flowers, Banuks, and of course, like, data points and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I like how you find most of that stuff in the power cell locations.
Yeah, in the runes and the power cell locations.
Like,
why wouldn't all the technology stuff be in those locations?
Yeah, exactly. And there's like a couple. I think there's only like 1 or 2. You might find some stuff in the cauldrons, but again, it makes sense that it would be there.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, buddy.
That's it, Geek Pantsers. Get the fuck out of here.
Flawless victory.